I would like to tell you a very romantic story about a young man named Nick. Nick fell in love with his girlfriend, Nikki. Ah, how much he liked that girl. In fact, he decided that's the one. I can't see ever living my life without Nikki. And so he decided it's time to pop the big question. So he went shopping for a ring. He knew what she would say. Well, Nick was rather naive about jewelry, and so he went to the mall and walked in, and there in the jewelry store was this big glass display case of all these glittering diamond rings. Well, he peeks down through the glass, and suddenly he noticed one of them in a blue box. Ah, he looked at it closely, and he thought, wow, Nikki would look wonderful wearing that ring. Oh, she would be proud to wear it. I wonder how much it is. He didn't see the price. Ma'am, I want to get the price on this ring, the one down there in the blue box. She comes over and she says, sure, young man, let me see. She reaches in, takes this out. She looks underneath. She says, well, now we have this one on sale. 40% off. Now, after the sale, this one would only be $2,000. Yeah, his heart sank. He knew he could not afford $2,000. So he asked about some of those other rings, and they're all about the same price. So his heart sank, and he thought, I'm in the wrong store. But he remembered that down the street in the older part of town was another jewelry store. Perhaps their stuff would be cheaper. So he walked down the street after saying, thank you, ma'am. He walked into this older jewelry store, and there in the middle of the room was this turntable. There on the turntable was a sign that said, your choice of rings, $20. He thought, I'll just take a close look at all these rings. Suddenly he's looking at these rings, and suddenly his eyes was drawn to one in particular in there that had a sign on it, only $20. And it looked just like the ring down at the expensive store. Whoa. I'll take it. So he's headed for the cash register. But on the way, he's thinking, I wonder why this ring is only $20. That other one was $2,000. Maybe I should ask. Ma'am, excuse me. Why are these rings only $20? Well, young man, it's because it's only gold-plated. It's not solid gold at all, and, you know, that's not a real diamond, of course. That's what we call cubic zirconium. Oh. Well, it's the looks that counts, he thought. Or is it? Well, I don't have to tell Nikki that it's not real. Or do I? That's when he thought about Nikki. And how much he loved that girl. And how much that girl loved him. He thought, wow. We have a genuine love. That's when a light came on in his mind. He thought, there is no way I'm going to give Nikki a cheap fake ring in exchange for her genuine love for me. He put that ring back, and he hustled back down the street to the first store. He walked in and he said, ma'am, I'd like to make a down payment on that ring, the one in the blue box. It was the one he knew Nikki would be the proudest to wear, and that he would be the proudest to give her. But we're not here today to talk about jewelry, are we? Or weddings. But we are here today to talk about your life. For your life, you see, is just like one of these two rings. It is either the real deal, the same on the inside as it is on the outside, or it's like this cheap fake ring, It looks good on the outside, but inside is an inferior, cheaper material. Perhaps the best way for you to decide which ring you're most like is to ask yourself, do I live according to those values that I already have inside of me? Is who I am on the outside the same as who I am on the inside? You know what I've learned about you people here today? I've learned that every one of you are good people. You know how I know that? Because this morning you told me three things. And I think you were telling me the truth. When you told me that you knew it was wrong to steal. And you told me that you don't really want to hurt people. And then you all told me that, yes, the golden rule is a good rule for me to live by. Those three things tell me that all of you are good people. But on the other hand, because you're in this class of thieves, we see theft offender written on your forehead. So it seems that who you're on the outside is not who you really are on the inside. You have violated not only society's law, but your own laws, your own value system that you already have inside. Yes, you may have walked into this door this morning much like this cheap fake ring. But there's a big difference between you and this ring. This ring will always be just a cheap fake ring. But you, ladies and gentlemen, have the power of choice. That's right. You decide who you are, and regardless of how you've been in the past, you could walk out of this door today the real deal. The same on the inside as you are on the outside, because you can make that choice. You know, I already know which one of these rings you want to be like, for none of us want to be fake. We all like real stuff, don't we? You know, we don't like fake flowers. We like the real thing. We like real jewelry, not fake. And you too want to be real. You want to be the same on the inside as you're on the outside. You want to be genuine. A psychologist from Germany named Erich Fromm wrote about people who are both fake and people who are genuine. He says that there is nothing you're more ashamed of than not being yourself. I know that Erich Fromm was right because I saw it with my own eyes. When I was a probation officer, one summer afternoon I was in my office when in walked a 19-year-old young man from Spiro, Oklahoma, who said, "I just got put on suspended sentence." I said, "Have a seat, Jason." Jason sat down, and I began the interview in which we asked all the background information about work history, family history. He was telling me about his grandfather, who he said had lived in the same home where he still lives until his grandfather died when Jason was 10 years old. As he's talking about his grandfather, I can tell he's becoming emotional. He stopped talking. He bit his lip. I could see a tear welling up in his right eye, which he quickly removed. But it was soon replaced with another one. And as he was wiping that one away, a big one dripped out of his left eye into his lap. Suddenly, Jason couldn't contain himself any longer. He burst into tears, stood up, left my office, crying like a baby. I left him alone in the hall for 10 minutes or more. He came back in, sat down. His eyes were very red. I said, Jason, do you mind sharing why you become so emotional talking about your grandfather?
Yeah, I'll tell you. He said my grandfather was a great man. And I love my grandfather, and I always believed I was going to be like him. He said, you see in the hallway where I still live, my mother keeps a picture of my grandfather. In the hallway, he's wearing an army uniform. And all these years, every time I walk up and down that hallway, I always look at my grandfather's picture. And I always think, someday I'm going to be like him. But here I am, damn drug addict, in a probation officer's office. No grandson of mine is ever going to look at my picture the same way I've looked at my grandfather's picture.
Jason came face to face with cognitive dissonance. We talked about it this morning. It's that shame of knowing you're not the same person on the outside as who you are on the inside. You know what I believe about all of you people? I believe every one of you are just like Jason. That's right. You too want to leave a legacy for your family. And when it's your turn to lay in a box in front of a church, yes, you hope there's going to be some good things said. And you hope that you will finish your life knowing that you were genuine. Let me remind you of the words of Mahatma Gandhi, who said, happiness is when what you think, say, and do are always the same.